As you see from the title of the video, yes, I am in the pursuit of finding an amazing kitchen cabinet. And just like I seem to have been doing for the last decade or so, I've been making videos or bringing you along and sharing with you this, I guess you could call it this curiosity pursuit of functionally excellent products. And I think I found another one. So yesterday we headed down to Portland, Indiana. Right now I'm in Fort Wayne, about to head back home to Orlando. This pursuit of, I think, what some may misconstrue as this materialistic pursuit, this material object that motivates me so much, is the conduit to relationship, the conduit to you know, through the camera, the conduit to someone like Mark Goldman, who owns Pennville, and that product or that excellent thing. The excellence is really a sort of creative embodiment of somebody's passion. And I'm passionate about the pursuit of that and the sharing of what I discovered around that. So what you're about to see is a factory tour, let you be a fly on the wall. I just hold the camera myself, carry it through the factory, and you get to see a piece of wood or piles of wood that turn into, through many steps and many passionate humans. Shoot, I don't think there's a single person at that factory that's been there for less than like 15 years. We met a few people who had been there, had reached their 50th anniversary with this company. And this beautiful, chaotic, creative process where you start with a pile of wood and then turn it into something amazing is really, really cool to see, and it's been awesome to have been invited to see how they do this. So this process that someone does or goes through to take something and then turn it into this beautifully crafted piece of furniture is what really motivates me. I don't get to take the obsession out of my pocket and put it in the garage cabinet and check it at the door when I walk into the house. Of course, the garage is the anchor of the obsession for me, but I'm also obsessed with the whole process of constructing a home. The home is where I spend most of my time, a large percentage of my time, and if I'm going to be there, I'm just picking areas of it to be curious about and to learn about and to show up not knowing a whole heck of a lot about it. And then through the process of discovery, me sharing with you, becoming a subject matter expert. That's the spice of life for me. And so what you're going to see in this video is a family that's passionate about what they do. This reminds me very much of the factory tour of Waterstone, the Waterstone facility where they make these amazing faucets. And so I'm going to continue on this pathway to this, this pursuit of finding excellent things that then, the discovery for me, the realization for me over the last several years has been that really the thing, the material object is not the win. It's not the real thing. The real thing is that conduit or that connection. The material object is the connection point, the common point to relationship with you and the person that makes the thing, and I found myself in the middle of that, and I'm going to keep pursuing that. So let's jump into the tour and show you some amazing cabinets. All right, everybody, I'm doing my thing here, Mike. I am committed to being the best shopper in the world. Yeah, we are in the middle of Indiana, going on a chase to find amazing kitchen cabinets. And the way that I normally do it is I'm looking for the best product for some particular project that I'm working on. We have the design studio, the break room at OGHQ, and then my Middleton house. It's my house now. Notice how that
it's transferred ownership. I see that, yeah.
So this is generally regarded, from what I've researched that I've done, extensive research I've done, as one of the best cabinet manufacturers on the planet. And so we're going out to rural Indiana, sort of in between Indianapolis and Fort Wayne. flew in Fort Wayne last night, and so we're driving the hour south to what is this town called? But we're going.
Portland?
Yeah, Portland, Indiana. And we're going to go and spend the day with Mark, the owner of Pennville, and we're going to dig into amazing kitchen cabinets and see how they're made, and I'll try to capture what I can for you. But check out, we're in it's like the Twilight Zone. We're in like a completely different, I guess, flatness than even what we experience in Florida. Lots of corn, lots of crop, lots of livestock, but we're heading down through rural Indiana. Get a bit of a culture shock here. I believe this is Amish country where we're at, just south of Decatur, I think. All right, made it to Pennville. What is this town called again?
Portland.
Oh yeah, Portland, Indiana. This is gonna be great.
Texture in this Rift White Oak here, so that's all wire brushed and everything. This kitchen was designed more to cook in than for looks. Although it's, I think it's a good-looking kitchen. But I mean, it's the more you look at it, the more it really is kind of the ultimate place to cook with 5 or 6 people at a time.
Yeah.
A smaller kitchen would probably be better if it was always going to be one person. So what you see over here are traditional face frame cabinets, like what has always been in the Midwest. In Florida, you start to see more full access cabinets, which is what this island is. And so typically on a face frame cabinet, you put a face frame together, you triangulate it with end panels, a back, a bottom, and that gives it stability. With a full access cabinet, on the other hand, there is no face frame. You edge band the front of it. In our case, we use a 1/4-inch solid wood, which almost nobody does. And the reason that a lot of people have switched to this is that you gain 1.5 inches on every opening as far as width, and you gain a lot of gain a lot of height. So, for instance, on a 4-drawer bank on a face frame cabinet, you'd have 5.5 inch rails, and so you'd be losing 7.5 inches. Here, you're only losing really 1.5 inches.
Is that an aluminum case or
This
aluminum
is a
box?
stainless steel case called a Allegra box, and I suppose really to show you this would be prettier for a video. Or this.
Yeah. So you're manufacturing the insert based on
We're manufacturing the insert. Most of the drawers that go through here are dovetail drawers. So for instance, if you look over here, this is a dovetail drawer made out of Rift White Oak. You can see all of these have been set up for the knives. So
I can send you my knives and then you can do that?
No, you kind of got to get the knives from us. There's so much engineering that goes into that.
Gotcha.
We're not doing it custom.
Okay, gotcha.
Same thing with pots and pans.
Yeah. So when you're designing, you guys help the cabinet installer learn what's available from a drawer organization perspective, because that can get really confusing, right? Really difficult to figure out for some people.
Yeah, so we'll go as far, you go as far as you can, we'll go the rest of the way. I mean, we have somebody here that's job is just to take a homeowner and get them cabinets. Corey that you just met, he's an engineer. So somebody's sending him a drawing, they pretty much know what they want, and he's just making sure there's no optical illusions in there and that everything will function properly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm here. I got my kitchen. I'm going to do as me as a guinea pig, and then I think I know what I want, but then he'll take us that next step too.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, and he can help you with that, and you just have to tell him what you want. If we have certain designers who are very good at what they do, and they'll end up saying something like, "Well, we really want what we want," and so you do it even if you think it's the wrong thing to do. But I mean, most of those people are pretty good at what they do.
Yeah.
And then we have other people that say, help us where we can, or well, this is a little more money than what we wanted it to be. Is there any way to value engineer this, or is there any way to add more pizzazz? I mean, it could go either way on that.
Yeah, got it.
So you can see these are actual leather inserts on there, and a piano gloss door, which is kind of cool. This has all your bain marie containers. So this is set up so kind of the ultimate set of appliances. You have a speed oven, which is a 1500 watt Megatron, like you would have in your microwave, a coffee maker, cappuccino maker, a speed oven, full oven but with steam, and a warming drawer. So kind of the ultimate selection of appliances. We've done everything around a 6-foot galley. I don't know if you're familiar with the galley workstations.
For sure.
And so these are something we really believe in. One of the things that we did wrong on here, because you can learn as much from what we've done wrong as what we've done right, is we tried to do this as a division so you could have other pieces for the galley down here. The catch is now you would have to be pretty much a contortionist to change out a faucet. And so anymore, when we design these cabinets, it's 2 drawers without a center rail, whether it's face frame or full access, so somebody can get in there and change a faucet or do whatever they have to do.
So this would be face frame.
This is all full access. This is all face frame.
Got it. Okay.
Now, honestly, it's a little bit of a hybrid here. So this looks like a face frame, but and that's pretty much the maximum of an HF lift.
So what I would normally refer to as an inset is what you would call a face framed cabinet.
So this is inset, and inset is typically on a face frame cabinet.
Got it. Okay. Are those Hafele hinges?
These are all Bloom.
Okay.
We use a lot of Hafele parts here, but as far as hinges, drawer glides, we're primarily Bloom. There's always an exception.
So you can choose to do a stainless steel box or a drawer box versus a dovetail wood. I mean,
yeah. So you can on a full access, not on inset.
Okay.
And the reason for that is a lot of times on a face frame cabinet, you have a door and a rail, and because it's moving in, you can't really put you'll see on here, this has to go exactly where it has to go.
Okay.
So say on a full overlay face frame cabinet, this drawer glide might move to right here where you couldn't really attach that. On full access, it works fine. And it's a nice thing. A lot of times people that are going modern, which tends to go with full access, go with the stainless steel drawer bay.
And then you could, this finish, all the white oak you see is tinted a little bit differently now. They're more a little whiter. I mean, you can kind of...
No, this is rift white oak, and which is the hottest thing going right now. Honestly, when lumber suppliers come in, we're making them lunch and everything just to get it right now.
Oh shoot! Yeah.
But this is way too high to cook with, so this will actually just come down to you.
Oh, down to your 30-inch standard, 30-inch above the surface.
30 to 36 inches.
Oh, that's pretty slick.
But that works much better for cooking.
Can we do that somehow in the kitchen where I can have the hood up out of my way and then I can move it, motorize it down? Yeah. That's not really wall mount thing. The whole idea in here, and again, we're not big fans of gadgets to have gadgets, but it was important that when somebody walks into the showroom that they can see the showroom and that there's good sight lines. Yeah.
And it's also important that we can cook in here. We're kind of known for making kitchens that are good to cook in. The trash cans in here all have servo drives, so when you touch them, they just automatically open with a pinball pusher.
The struggle I always have with, entry level or basic cabinets is, and my wife and kids, they break that. they always break the trash can, so I never use it because they rip the door off. You know, the cheap stuff.
So we've done a couple things on here. First of all, by not having to touch it with your hand, you're less likely to get water and junk all over.
Yeah.
Secondly, you can see, and this is an optional item, but we have a metal edge protector on there. And so this holds up pretty well. And what you say is exactly true. The first cabinet that's going to go bad in any kitchen is going to be the trash can door. And so anything you can do to protect that really is a pretty worthwhile thing.
Yep. That's pretty slick.
But yeah, a servo drive is something that once you have it, you'll always want it. Some part of it will go bad every 5 years, and it's really easy to fix. I mean, if you're even the tiniest bit handy,
Yeah.
and in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's cool.
This kind of gives you the white look with the marble in the background. A lot of people like the white walnut look.
Oh, yeah, I do like that walnut.
That's pretty. I like that too. Contrast with white.
And so it's nice to be able to show it both ways. And although these all look like drawers, you can see that this is a door, and you still have an 1/8 of an inch gap everywhere.
Yeah.
To the most traditional things, you can see that's six types of our inset on that board there.
Yeah.
Are you spraying all your finishes here?
We do spray all our finishes here, and I'll show you that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a Florida thing, is to have like a separate finisher.
Yeah, they do the same in California too. I mean,
Yeah.
they do a lot of the cabinet makers ship them off to finishers, and I think having it around.
Before, we had all the plywood and the solids together, and we were probably spending more time digging out the material than using it sometimes, and so this was pretty helpful.
So is there you buy wood from a certain place to get a certain quality? I mean, is there a certain...
So wood's a lot like people. People, the more adversity they go through, the better off they tend to be. Well, wood's like that. So you know, when you hear deluxe southern hardwoods, that's not really a thing. I mean, what you want is you want something with tight growth rings, which means it comes from as far north as that species grows.
Okay, got it.
All the plywood you're seeing in here has North American cores. One of the easiest ways to save money on cabinets is to get Asian cores. But the Asian cores, if you're worried about the health of being in the house, about breathing, about anything like that, the Asian cores are where everything bad's going to come from. I mean, when you see drywall that's riding out air conditioner units in Florida, that's because they got the drywall from Asia. And so spending, I mean, I hate to say it, but probably 50% more for North American cores is just something that we've never even considered compromising on.
And what is the core? Is it a glued substrate? Is it basically sawdust?
It's basically glued up thick veneers.
Yeah.
And the grains change each layer so that you end up getting stability out of it. So plywood, doesn't grow and shrink anywhere near as much as solid wood grows and shrinks. So for an end panel for the back of a cabinet, plywood's really the way to go. Whereas on a face, you kind of want the solids, and if a door grows a little bit, that's okay. But if wood is, it's not a flaw in wood. It grows and shrinks, and there's times where that's okay, and there's times where it's not okay. If you were doing, you wouldn't want solid wood all the way on the back of your wall and put screws in there because it would all crack.
Is there any, we were talking about this on the way up here, the box, you said you generally build them in 1/2 inch. Is there a benefit? I see a 3/4 ply there. I mean, do you build it this thicker? Do you create any benefits to you?
thought process Bubba built. So, you know, you can't build a cabinet any thicker than this. What would be better than, you know,
1 inch? Why not 1 inch?
yeah,
Why not
yeah.
2 inch? Right?
Yeah, well, so all that adds weight. You have wall cabinets. You don't really want to put all that on a wall. You want the most durable cabinet you can build that's as light as possible at the end of the day. So you want good plywoods. You want good cores. Plywood has screwability to it. So as opposed to particle board, a screw can pull out. So if you're putting a hinge into that, and that screw gets over torqued, you're going to have to fix it with like automotive epoxy. Whereas with plywood, I mean, you could put a toothpick in there, a little bit of glue, the same screw, and it will last 100 years. And so, I mean, there's everything, you know, everything that goes into a cabinet has its own purpose. So now, conversely, we may use MDF as a center panel on a door, on a painted door, because it's not going to shrink and swell. There is no stave telegraphing like there would be on solids, because, you know, obviously when you do a solid wide panel, it's not one big tree. It's different staves of wood, and so that panel's not going to shrink and swell. You're not putting a screw into there. I mean, it's great for that, but you just really have to consider the material for the purpose on every scenario.
Thank you. I find this fascinating, figuring out or learning about why, you know, the why behind why something would be chosen.
And as I say, we've learned most of this by all the mistakes we've made. So all of our wood that comes in, you can see it's not the same width. It's typically the same length or close to the same length. And but we're buying it all as rough lumber, so we can turn this into anything. And so when you're talking about custom cabinets, you need to be able to make anything you need to make. When I came here, we had one door rail. It was 2 1/4 inches wide. When Shaker got to be popular, we just flipped it around, and you know, and we sold a lot of cabinets that way. But today, with the CNC equipment and everything, you're expected to be able to change things out and give anybody exactly what they want. So we have 2 CNCs here. This is a flatbed machine.
Oh man.
The way cabinet making's gone since I graduated in '88 is we used to have what we called cell-based manufacturing. And cell-based manufacturing would be, you'd rip the plywood on one saw, you'd cross-cut it on another saw, you'd take it over and drill the holes for the shelf pegs, you'd route a bottom groove on another machine, a back groove on another machine, you'd take it to something that would cut out the toe kick.
Now everything's all.
And so then it went to, you had a saw, and it would optimize everything out of 4x8 sheets of plywood. So you'd maybe put in 100 cabinets, because the more cabinets you put in, the better it optimized. And it would cut out all the pieces, and you'd take it to a CNC router that would do all those other steps. Well, now, for the most part, you can take everything to here, you put the 4x8 sheet of plywood up here, it cuts each part out, drills all the holes, routes all the grooves, pushes it over to that table where it can be labeled as you're doing the next piece.
Do you have your own proprietary software? Do you use Cabinet Vision, or you know? Or
We're using Cabinet Vision to power this.
Yeah. And so you bring it in from whatever, you know, CAD software into Cabinet Vision, and then that does all the CNC stuff.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah,
I mean, you actually draw it out in Cabinet Vision.
Got it. Okay.
But Cabinet Vision, the program we're using, isn't really a design software. It doesn't draw pretty pictures. Now, Cabinet Vision would argue that they would do that great, but I mean, the reality is production software is different than design software.
Sure.
And Cabinet Vision makes a good design software, but it's not exactly the same.
Yeah, got it.
This is a 5-axis machine. So if you think about when you were in high school, they taught you about the Cartesian plane, and you had an x-axis and a y-axis and a z-axis. Well, that's
W and B.
that's what this is doing. This is a 5-axis machine, so it has a B-axis which can turn the head in any direction, and a C-axis which can rotate the head. So you can actually engrave on a curve like this. You can do things that you couldn't do on the other machines, like You couldn't do that as a 3-axis piece.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And although that machine does 10 times the work of this machine costs twice as much because not many people have one of these. It can do horizontal drilling, and so you're putting in, say, pocket screws and the dowel holes for a full axis cabinet, while on a 3-axis machine you can't really do that. This is Andre. Andre's from Moscow. He also has an engineering degree from Purdue. He runs this machine.
Nice. They start early? I mean, the shifts?
We start at 7, we go to 3:30. Lately, anybody who's wanted to work overtime could work, Saturday, half a day.
Yeah.
And so there's all the work anybody wants to do here, and it's specifically our best guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Rip saw here. When wood comes in, you can see the edges aren't perfect on there or anything. So the first thing you need to do is get 2 parallel edges. And so he's going to start by getting us the right size parts with 2 parallel edges, and then he's going to take it over to this molder where we can turn it into S4S, meaning surfaced nicely on 4 sides and very accurate, or he could turn it into a crown molding or whatever he needs to. Yeah. So we were talking about glued up panels, and again, you can see that we're not just using super wide trees and taking out the middle piece. First of all, it wouldn't be stable. Each piece, each stave is flipped over so that it has more stability. It's humid out right now, but you can see we have humidification throughout. People spend a lot of money on a wine room. We keep a lot more wood than most people keep in wine.
It's funny, your definition of humid is a little different than our definition of humid. You know humid though, in Florida.
Yeah, I know humid. We're going Friday.
Oh, nice. Man, it's been real thick.
Yeah.
It's almost more critical in a wood environment. I came from a machine shop where we had to keep it constant temperature.
So this is an NC controlled shaper. It used to be the shapers were all like that, where they were manually controlled, and it took 45 minutes to set up each shaper if you were a good guy. Now Adam can get this back in place in a few minutes. And of course he's got all these tools with insert cutters so that we can get back to factory specs pretty quick when we change the tool. She makes all of our doors, glues them up here. One of the things, because we make all of our doors in-house, most people buy their doors. And so when you buy your doors, you just get the door and you finish it. When you make your doors, you pre-stain the panels because, again, we talked about panels shrinking and swelling. Well, you really want to get some finish all the way around it before you put it together, so if it shrinks, you don't see any white lines.
Right.
So you can see on these doors, even though that has an MDF center panel, you have paint all the way around there that was put on there before it was built. And you see the same thing on wood.
Those are cool.
And that's a random wave door. We came out with that, and we thought, we'd never really sell one, but it was a cool thing to take to dealers. And it turns out we've sold quite a bit of that.
Huh.
Typically one person builds a cabinet from start to finish once they have all the parts. And then they'll sign their name on there, which is a traditional cabinet maker thing. Some of the big cabinets that'll take a couple builders. But you can see everything's completely capped in construction. So on our face frame cabinets, we're actually using 1/2-inch plywood, but you can see it's completely capped, meaning that the bottom would be dadoed into the sides, dadoed into the back, and tenon into the face. And So it would basically stand up without, of course we're using glue, we're using staples, but we were always kind of told if you could put a cabinet together that wouldn't fall apart without a fastener, you probably had a pretty good method of construction.
So these are like, she's building cabinets, he's building cabinets? Okay, got it.
Sandy's been doing this for over 15 years.
I could geek out here all day.
These are some acrylic faces, so as opposed to being painted,
Yeah.
those are the acrylics. The acrylics are amazing. I mean, you can write on a white piece of acrylic with a Sharpie pen and get it off so that you literally don't see any residue. I mean, there's nothing more durable than that. I was showing you the texture on that display out front. You can see this, in addition to a drum platen sander, we also have the wire wheels on the back in case something needs to be brushed. We can also switch that out to orbital heads or flatter sanders. So everything's put together with loose tenons as far as face frames go. So the first thing they're doing is, when they're doing an inset cabinet, is they're putting this together so that it fits together. You'll see the notches on there. Well, the reason for that is because there's going to be some sort of a bead on here. And you want to put the bead on afterwards because the bead is a pretty friendly cut. Again, everything's going to be put together with glue and these loose tenons. But the bead's a pretty easy cut because it's going along with the grain, whereas these cuts are across the grain. So if you're going to have anything splinter out or whatever, if you do it before you do the other cut, it makes a lot more sense. This is a lineal cutoff saw, so when we cut our face frames, for instance, or our door rails, we can run everything on here and it will optimize everything and defect it automatically and print on there what it is, which saves us a lot of time. Adam usually built face frames for today. He's gluing up panels.
What will that be?
That'll just be an insert panel.
Got it.
This is where we would turn a spindle or build mullion doors. Over here's our, more of our specialist department, so we have all sorts of tools to just do whatever we need to do. We're talking about how thick cabinets were. So one of the things people did for a long time is they made really thick drawer boxes, but they put 1/8" drawer bottoms in there. Well, obviously that doesn't make any sense because the drawer bottom's what holds all the weight.
Yeah.
So in our case, we're using 1/2" drawer bottoms, and you can see, you know, that's not going anywhere.
Right.
Kind of fun. I was showing you the haunches. Well, they make machines that do that now, and they do one at a time with multiple routers. What we did instead was we took these 70-year-old saws, we put cutters on there that cost certainly more than the saw was when they bought it. We put pneumatics on here to drive it. So that'll drive it across there. And you can gang up multiple pieces at a time. So it's faster, it does a better cut, but again, using a 60-year-old saw.
So let me ask you this, Mark. Could you make a cabinet?
Can you still make one?
I don't make them regularly, but I mean I certainly started by doing that.
So you could
yeah.
do it. You can make one.
Yeah, I'm not saying I wouldn't make a flaw the first time, but by the end of the day, I could build cabinets.
Nice. That's cool. Ooh, yeah.
So the floating shelf thing's the big deal. So that's what Ryan's.
Oh yeah.
So one of the things we do on our face frame cabinets is we actually build the sides of the cabinets out with plywood for the drawer glide so you can screw it right in there. A lot of people are attaching a drawer glide to the back with a piece of plastic or with a piece of metal, and it's way faster for cabinet for installation of drawers in the factory, but when you do it this way, it really closes solid. And the other thing is, if something ever went wrong, if the screw got over towards an installation, a toothpick, that same screw, it'll hold 100 years. She does. She's an expert. I mean, sanding's an underrated skill. I mean, sanding's very. Her name is Sandy.
She's a sander. Sandy the sander. I love it. That is great.
And so here you can see the difference between a face frame cabinet and a full access cabinet. On the full access cabinets, it's pocket screwed, it's doweled and glued, it has a 1/4 inch solid wood banding, and there's a much bigger opening in there.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have been doing that.
I see.
Yeah, so these are all ready for finish. They're sanded, they're putting them together, making sure everything's there.
Like this.
Yep.
So much better that is to install. Everything's perfect.
Yeah, so that would be a big
no
upper,
seams
right?
on the face frame. All just one module.
That's what I want.
Yep.
You just have to get it up there. That's all.
Yeah, you
So
can.
everything will be put on the cart here, go through. Now this is our stain room. So basically we would stain in here, hand wipe, seal in that booth over there. The sealer would get baked on over here.
Holy cow, it's so cool.
I know.
Wow. This is amazing.
The sealer gets baked on in this oven, hand sanded along here, top coated, and goes out the second oven. You can also see there's positive air makeup, so whenever we're sucking out to get rid of fumes and spray, we're filling up with positive air so that if you were to light a match right in the doorway, it would blow out, not in. Another room we were doing stain sealer top coat. Here we're doing primer paint.
But every kitchen or every is basically hand done from start to finish. You know?
Everything's hand done from start to finish.
Yeah, somebody's put love into every single component, every piece.
We're doing it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I hate to say it, it's a dying art, but it's.
Yeah.
You have multiple levels of quality control too, because everybody hand touches everything, checks the guy before, so it never.
Well, and everybody cares. Even people that left 30 years ago will say, "I really miss working there," and I'll be like, "Why do you miss working there?" Well, I was really proud of what I made when I worked at Pennville. And like to the point where I didn't realize that was maybe as important to people as compensation.
Yeah.
Is, you know, we're never telling people to do it worse. You know, so our mission statement is we make the world's best cabinets, and it's not a cocky statement. It's just a true north. We actually ran a commercial with my 6-year-old and my 11-year-old talking, and my 6-year-old's asking, well, what's it take to be president of Pennville Cabinets? And my 11-year-old says, I think it's pretty easy. The mission statement is you make the world's best cabinets. People come up to you all day asking you whether you should do something, and if it helps you make the world's best cabinets, you do it, and if it doesn't help you, you don't do it. And that was like a conversation my kids had had without me first.
Yeah, that's great.
But I just thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah, that is.
Love it.
So here's this from the other side. And if you want later, you can walk back through here and take pictures of it. So you just gotta be careful. It's a pretty cool place to come to work.
It is.
So when we're sanding primer, we're taking it off the line because you might be doing white paint one day and black paint the next day. Well, you certainly don't want to get your black specks into your white specks. So everything's out here and it goes into there. This is Roxanne. Roxanne does all of our special finishes. Roxanne had her 50th anniversary here last year. Are we up to 51 yet?
Yep, that's 51.
So, yeah, so Roxanne's been here for 51 years.
So these are white oak getting stained.
These are maple and they're getting
Maple.
glazed. They've already been stained
Okay.
and sealed, and now Roxanne's making them
I'm getting ready to speckle them.
speckled.
Oh, okay.
So again, this isn't just a stained finish. There's a little bit more complexity.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, and this is amongst one of the simpler things that Roxanne would do. But she's, she, as I say, after 51 years, she's kind of got a lot of stuff done. You can see some of the tools she uses to distress things here.
That was so cool.
And it's an art.
Yeah, it is. Use the wire to deflect the droplets. That's cool.
That is amazing.
You can see all her tools here.
What's that?
That's the fun part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she uses to distress
Yeah,
things.
that's cool.
Wow. Wow, that's all I can say. I like this finish.
Purchased last year so that we can do all the acrylic stuff and all of that. So again, so we can do all the looks out of Miami, because one of the things that I think makes us really cool now is not only can we do all the really traditional woodworking probably better than almost anyone, but now we can do the modern stuff with this, with just as good of equipment as anyone has in Florida. Just dry things, and I don't think there's much in there right now because we just took it out. But all we do is we'll dry things for a couple days before putting glaze on it. Most companies will go from start to finish in 45 minutes, whereas the adhesion, if something's not totally dry, isn't it nearly as good.
Sure.
So by putting things in the dry room for 3 days, that paint glaze that Roxanne's working on will be a much more durable finish. This is Michael. This is Matt and Mike here.
Hey, Michael.
How you doing, Mike?
So Michael, he does our quality control, shipping, final assembly, and he's somebody that you really have to trust because you're making a lot of judgment calls. Wood's an artistic substrate, and so there's a lot of things that may or may not be okay based on that. And so you need somebody highly intelligent. Michael's been doing this, well, the cabinet thing for what, 30, 40 years?
Yeah, 35 years.
That's a common theme in this place.
It is a common thing.
Decades, not days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say our average employee's been here probably 15 to 20 years.
Jeez. That's cool.
And that's just because we have some new ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That setup. That looks like a bathroom setup to me. Looks like it'd be an
it's
awesome.
Looks like kitchen. That's
That's got to be for like
That's
a double
oven.
oven or
Yeah.
Oh
something.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. I say I would like that finish in a like
it's pretty.
a guest bathroom. Would be sweet. Look at that. That is sick. It's awesome. There's all the drawers.
It's
These are all
it's probably got better for you.
doors that are going to be installed.
Yeah, so I don't know that it's
Oh, that's cool. So they do the inset or the bottom of the drawer box is the pegboard. So you would pre-design that instead of doing like a HAPLA insert. Man, so awesome. You see the half-inch bottom.
Needs to be flushed, so I'm testing to see if it is or not.
hardware, and so you edge band the front side so that this will look good in there. We'll come back and I'll show you when he's done. Up there, and you saw the teak. I mean, you can kind of see how if you did the blue and teak, it's not on the cover of every magazine,
Right,
so
right.
probably you could still like it in 10 years,
Yeah,
as opposed to Benjamin Moore's color of the month. Ben
Pivot there, yeah.
could, so you can kind of sit up and just watch the laser line,
that's awesome.
as opposed to going down and getting back up on your knees and standing up.
This is that walnut array, and it has the cutting board above the garbage can, and it's got a drip panel so it won't run or drip inside of the cabinet. So you would just double-sided tape this, and then that feeds the garbage can underneath. That is cool. Here's a sink cabinet where they cut around the drain. Yeah, that's cool. I think I like that more than just the drawer divider. And then you got step spice. You got, oh, this is a single drawer that's separated. That's pretty sweet. This is awesome. I wonder what else is. I wonder what other secret tricks are in this cabinet.
He apparently, his house was so old
Which is a really big one.
that it actually had drains in the floor, just like so you could
And then you got this. Man, I'm in love. And you got this cabinet here. I'm going to do one of these, I think, where this will come out
Yeah.
as well. So these are getting, what are these getting?
Primer. Stain.
Yeah,
Are these
stain.
structure natural or?
Yeah, these are natural.
But it's kind of a cool door if you look at it. It's got a rounded profile over there. You've got thin rails on the top and bottom. The rails are sort of at a different angle than normal. Putting everything on acreage. You got a picture, there's a lot of eggs around here.
Yeah.
A lot of people that have a few million players. So one of the things about this town is Indiana, the largest confined feeding state in the country, and this is the largest confined feeding, where you've got all these different parts along with some sort of a fire clay farm sink or something.
I told you, wild, isn't it, to see. I'm thinking I want to bring Waba and the whole crew up and really dig deep into. I talked to Mark. I said, hey, when we make my cabinet someday, maybe we can come up and share this whole process from start to finish. He said, well, Matt, that takes about 8 weeks. So anyway, I'm excited to take back what I've learned. I have a 1,000-page catalog to digest, which is my favorite thing to do. We're gonna let you live by proxy through me, tearing out the, rather cookie cutter kitchen and converting it to a piece of craftsmanship, and then I'm going to share with you, what I learned through the process. So anyway, thanks for being on this journey with me. I guess it's appropriate to let you know the pursuit will continue, and I guess as always, stay tuned for more crazy is more appropriate than ever. I get on a plane, fly 1,200 miles, and drive through the farmland of America's heartland here, the Rust Belt, and find some great stuff. It seems to be one of the few things I'm good at, and I'm gonna continue to pursue that and share it with you. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more with Obsessed Garage or Obsessed Home, and the products like Pennville. I'm excited for the future. Thanks for watching.